Welcome back, everyone, to the next installment of Chaos Child. We've had ourselves some more conversations and we're learning terrible things about Sakuma, and now we'll see where we go from here.
あまり思い詰めるなよ。
何をですか?
いや、
He scratched his head, then checked the time and frowned.
警察は厳戒態勢で復興祭の警備に当たっている。俺もこの後、一旦ここを離れなくちゃいけない。その間、代わりの警官が来る。そうだな。ウキ君の部屋に隠れているといい。君がいるとは思ってないから、探しはしないはずだ。
はい。
おそらく戻りは夜になる。そのタイミングで渋谷を離れよう。準備をしておいてくれ。
わかりました。
I answered him, but my body wouldn't move. My hands were clutched tight and I hadn't even realized it. I felt so frustrated, so angry and disgusted with myself. All these horrible things were going on around me, and someone else had already decided how I was going to escape them. I'd done nothing at all. Shinjo seemed to be about to say something else, but instead he left the room silently. The clock said it was past 10 p.m. I was supposed to be getting ready to leave Shibuya, but I couldn't leave Aoba Dorm right now, and most of the stuff in my room was already taken by the police. There wasn't much for me to do.
だいたい渋谷を離れる本当の理由は何だ?
It might just be to avoid the warrant, but it was clear from the way Serika and Kunosada were talking that there was probably another reason. Something that had to do with us psychics. And something that had to do with Chaos Child Syndrome. I quickly closed my eyes and shook my head. No, don't do it. Don't try to find out. Remember your promise to Nono. You've already learned what happens when you try to find out about things you're not supposed to know, right?
尾上は言ったな。
I looked up and saw Kunosada and Arimura by the door.
いつからというか。
Were they at the front desk next to the exam room the whole time?
尾上に思考洞察されたくなかったのでな。とっさに有村と逃げ込んだ。
Kunosada entered the exam room. Arimura followed after, but when she saw the bandages and tape in the wastebasket, she looked at me angrily.
別にあいつの味方になったわけじゃない。
I sounded a little guilty as I said it, but all Arimura said was, I know. But the look on her face was strange. It was as if she blamed me but wasn't able to say it aloud.
なんだ?
え?
他にも何か言いたいことあるんじゃないのか? 言ってくれよ。もう隠し事はたくさんなんだ。
そうですね。
Arimura looked at Kunosada for a moment, but evidently it was okay for her to tell me because she continued.
セリ、尾上セリカは何て言ってましたか?
というと、
いろいろ話してましたよね。よく聞こえなかったけど、声はしてたから。
そうだな。
I gave them both a brief version of what Serika had told me. Kunosada crossed her arms and thought for a moment, then whispered to herself.
やはりな。お前、どう考えている?
何がです?
尾上の言い分だ。
どうって?
I didn't even think about it. None of the things she had to say were what I wanted to hear.
たとえ僕が彼女を生み出してしまったとしても、どうしても納得できないというか。
違う。そういうことじゃない。
Kunosada raised a hand to cut me off.
あいつがしたことは許されない。それはどんな理由を振りかざそうと変わらない。私が聞いているのはそういうことではなく、あいつが昨べ事件に関して説明したことだ。お前はどう思った?
昨べ尾上が話したこと。
What did I think? She told the truth, right? Arimura had heard the whole thing and used her powers to check it. But Arimura looked down at her feet and said softly,
宮代先輩、
覚えてますか？伊藤先輩と結衣さんの事件の後、私が言ったこと。
え？
私がもっと注意深く能力を使っていれば、伊藤先輩の言葉がどこかおかしいって気づけたはずだって。
Oh, like what he was saying was false, but he believed it, so it wasn't a lie? Like that?
ま
Arimura had regretted that deeply. But what did that have to do with Serika?
あ、
I looked at her face and suddenly figured out what she meant. Was there something that Serika had said?
嘘があったのか。
いえ、彼女は確かに真実を語っていました。でも
でも、
なんか変なんです。うまく言えないけど、真実すぎるというか。
Too true?
なんだよそれ。
私、ずっと注意深く聞いてました。私の能力って相手の言葉が本当か嘘か分かりますけど、人の言葉っていつも白黒はっきりしてるわけじゃないです。
Oh, that's interesting. Were there layers of meaning?
話してる時っていろいろ迷ったり曖昧になったり、自分でも何言ってるか分からなくなったり、とにかくちゃんとしてないですよね。だから普通は本当のことを話しててもぼんやりとしたグレーみたいな部分が混じってるものなんです。
人間が言葉を発するという行為は常に理路整然とした思考の上で行われているわけじゃないからな。理性と感情が入り混じり、時に論旨は飛躍し、会話の道筋はひどく不安定だ。
Kunosato added.
でも彼女の尾上セリカの言葉は全てまっすぐだったんです。まるでシナリオでも用意されていて、それを読んでいるみたいに。
Oh, that's interesting.
それにあいつの話そのものにも気に入らない点がある。
I wonder then, I mean, she is working for Mr. Mind Control, right? Was this all a setup and Serika herself might not know it? She was compelled to say these things? Kunosato sat down in a chair without asking permission.
フリージアであいつの話を聞いていた時は愚かなことに私も頭に血が上っていてな。冷静に考えられなかった。だがここへ来る途中ふと疑問が浮かんで、そこから検討をしてみた。だから尾上に思考洞察されるわけにいかなかったんだ。
ああ、それで。
Last night, Serika had stayed in the exam room instead of coming up to the living room to talk with everyone else. That was the reason.
本格的におかしいと思ったきっかけは昨夜の電話でのやりとりだ。あいつは私にお前を渋谷から逃がすように言った。それがお前を生存させることにつながると。
ええ。
I remember her saying that. Aimara seemed to be suspicious that her words were too true, but they seemed like the truth to me.
確かにお前を渋谷から逃がすということ自体は筋が通っている。お前にとっての脅威になってしまった佐久間を殺すという選択もな。だが私にお前を託すというのが矛盾していないか？
It really does. We already made a promise to Kunosato that she could do her crazy experiments on us if she would just do us this favor, and she's like, I'm gonna hold you to that. I didn't know what she meant. I mean, who else would I go with? Like Arimura? Maybe Shinjo. What seems strange about it?
あいつはどうして私にお前を託したと思う？
だから、久野里さんは何か知ってるんでしょう。僕らの知らない何かを。尾上はそれを差し引いてだ。そもそもあいつの存在意義がお前の生存にあるのなら、お前が最後の時を迎える瞬間までずっと一緒にいなくてはならないはずだ。違うか？ だからそれは通す。
佐久間のせいで予定が狂って。
Aramura interrupted me.
確かに彼女はそう言っていましたし、嘘はありませんでした。でも嘘じゃないのはおかしいと思いませんか？
Strange that she wasn't lying?
は？
I stared at her, uncertain as to what she meant.
そう。あいつの言葉は真実に見せかけた嘘かもしれないんだよ。
Kunosato nodded.
真実に見せかけた嘘？
宮代拓を生かし続けるためならば手段は選ばない。あいつはそういう行動をする。
だからそれのどこに嘘が？
佐久間だと所詮末端組織の研究者に過ぎ、そんな小物と差し違えて何になる？ただの無駄死にでしかない。委員会は巨大だ。佐久間を殺したところで宮代の安全など全く保証されない。なのに自分が死んでしまってはどうにもならないだろう。
Yeah, that was strange.
だから久野里さんに僕を預けるって。
バカを言うな。確かに私はお前をおとりにして委員会の実態を探りたいと思っている。だがお前など不必要になったら簡単に切り捨てる。守り続けるわけがない。尾上セリカは私の思考を読めるんだぞ。そんなことわからないと思うか？
つまり委員会が本当に宮代先輩を狙っているのなら、彼女は先輩のそばから絶対に離れるはずないんです。自分の手でどこまでも先輩を守ろうとするはず。違いますか？
それは。
そしてもう一つ、決定的におかしなことがある。あいつはなぜ最初からお前に真実を告げなかった？
最初？
渋谷地震による昏睡からお前が目覚めた時だよ。
That is a good point. If she's supposed to be my super ultra protector, then...
お前を生き延びさせることが目的なら真実を隠す必要なんて最初からないんだ。むしろ全てを正直に告げ、能力や委員会に対する情報をお前に与えた方が助かる可能性はずっと高い。そもそもそういった情報があればお前は一連の殺人事件にだって絶対に首を突っ込まなかっただろう。わざわざ危険な目に遭うことだってなかった。
ね、なんか変でしょ先輩。
She was right. I didn't realize it until they told me. I never would have done the things I did if I'd known what Serika had told me last night. I was at the Love Hotel. Just like Kunosato said, I would have stayed away. And there's the hospital. In fact, I might have done something to keep us away from it. If I had, Nono and Yue might still... But...
なんで？
Why had she hidden the truth? It's like...
逆に宮代先輩を危険な目に遭わせようとしてるみたいですよね。
She did keep urging us toward things, like I do remember that. Huh. I'm trying to think of what an ulterior motive would have been. Arimura did say that she was telling the truth when she said that her goal was to keep us alive, so I'm wondering if that wasn't always the goal, but maybe it was. I don't know. Arimura said the same thing I was thinking.
でも尾上の言葉が嘘だなんてありえないだろう。昨べは有村がそばにいたんだから。
いえ、方法がないこともないんです。私の能力の盲点をつく方法が。
Well, there's a blind spot, I guess, but I'm also wondering if Serika was compelled to lead us into danger, and now she's not being compelled, or you know, vice versa, where she was telling the truth, but also not, but it made sense at the time. But what's the blind spot? Innuendos, or facial expressions, or sarcasm, or what?
有村の能力の盲点。
I remembered what Arimura had just said. Everything Serika had said was the truth. But it was too true. It was as if she was reading from a script. I found it. There was one way. One way to get through Arimura's powers.
まさか伊藤の時と同じ。
Yeah, it's not a lie if you believe it's true. That's what it is. Ito really did believe he was in love with Senri, even though he wasn't. Arimura nodded slowly.
はい。私が伊藤先輩の異常を見過ごしてしまった。それと同じ方法なら。
思考誘導。
That meant there might be a little bit of hope. Well, I don't know, though. If she was being mind-controlled to tell us to leave, then wouldn't escape be a trap?
つまり尾上は佐久間に思考誘導されていて。
It would have to be, otherwise she would try killing him at every opportunity. Like, there's no way that someone as dangerous as Serika is not being mind-controlled.
あんなことをしたのは伊藤と同じように操られていただけで。
What's really disturbing, though, is that they said that even if Sakuma dies, the mind control remains. I guess I don't know how you would know that unless you try, but that sucks, because that would mean there's no way to break the curse unless you get Sakuma to willingly do it, and why would he ever do that? But Arimura didn't look any better when I asked her.
私もそれなら少しは救われるなって思ったんですけど。
あくまでも可能性の一つだ。それにすがるな。
だそうです。
そうか。
My shoulders slumped.
先輩。
妙な期待はするな。それすら罠かもしれん。
はい、わかってます。
Yeah, everything in this game has been so meticulously planned out that who knows what's a trap and what's not. I spoke clearly. I thought I was telling the truth. But Arimura looked down as if she was in pain.
今、嘘をついたのか。僕は。
Kunosada must have figured out what I was thinking because her expression became more stern.
私も思考誘導の線は考えている。でも、それも腑に落ちないんだ。佐久間が己の思考を操って、わざわざ仲間割れを演出する理由は何だ？
Maybe his mind control isn't absolute. Maybe he gives you a command and you have to do it, but you can act outside of that. She was right. There was no reason for Dad to do that. If he'd sent Serika as an assassin, I would have been dead already. The two of us had even been alone together, and Serika had done nothing. I knew it. There was no point in hoping that Serika was really just a normal girl who didn't know anything. I should have been able to tell from watching her last night. The way she talked, the way she acted, the way she behaved towards everyone else. It was all different than the Serika I knew before. If mind control was involved, she would have acted like the Serika I knew. Because, and I hated myself for saying it, if she had been the old Serika, I couldn't have brought myself to hate her. Although this also raises the question, why didn't Sakuma mind control all the psychics at home and get them killed anyway? I mean, I know he was lining up the dates for the committee, but he could have made his life a lot easier if he just mind controlled everybody. Like, there's gotta be a caveat to his power. I would have thought for a long time and then maybe forgiven her. And then, like an idiot, I would have done exactly what Dad wanted and only regretted it the instant I was killed.
Miyashiro.
Kunosada's expression was as fierce as ever.
はい。
よく考えろ。もしかすると、これが重大な鍵かもしれない。昨日も聞いたことだが、地震の時、お前は何を望んだ？その結果、尾上がリアルブートされたのだとしたら、あいつに何を求めたんだ？
I mean, I said we might have killed our parents several installments ago and the game just never went back to that. I'm waiting for it. It's gonna be the most horrible thing to admit in front of other people.
本当にあいつはお前を生存させることが目的なのか?
Oh, that's a twist I didn't expect. I thought we telekinetically flung our parents, which ended up killing them, and then we said, oh, it was a burglar, and then on top of that, oh no, they died in the earthquake. But what if Serika's job was to kill our parents? I remembered what it had been like back then. I remembered the hellish sights around me, the horrible headache, and I remembered begging Serika to help me. True. Serika said it was her goal to keep me alive, to save my life, literally. There was a brief but strong pain in my head. I pressed my hand to my forehead. Whenever I remembered that, the pain came back.
大丈夫ですか?
Arimura had been through the same pain, so she was worried. I raised my hand and told her I was okay.
とにかく助けてくれと言った気がします。
I couldn't remember if I'd barely been able to get the words out, or if I'd shouted them at the top of my lungs, or if I hadn't even said them aloud at all. But I could remember asking Serika for help.
だけど
Was that really all I asked for? I'm telling you, the screen went white and the words came up in black. It was significant. Just go away forever, or whatever we said. Back then, Ooh, vision getting blurry. There was a new pain. This time I could feel it throbbing in my temples. I pressed my hand harder into my head and the nails dug into the skin. See, this concerns me, because wasn't this kind of what happened when Ito tried to remember key information? Was Serika's protection blocking ourselves from this memory? My whole body staggered and I collapsed to the floor. There was a warm sensation on my shoulder. Arimura was trying to help me up.
ごめん、大丈夫。
嘘です。
Arimura led me over to the bed in the corner of the exam room. I wanted to lie down right away, but...
いや、ダメだ。新庄さんが代わりの警官が来るって言ってたから、ウキの部屋に隠れてろって。
じゃあ、もういいですから、上に行きましょう。
I nodded and thanked her as she held me by the shoulder. I forced my body to softly push off her and stand up on its own.
久野里さんも、すいません。
She sighed in resignation and shook her head. It's fine, she said.
どのみち、尾上がここにいない以上、情報の裏付けは取れないしな。お前の話だと、尾上は今夜10時28分にシアターキューブに現れるということだが、残念ながら私では能力者2人を相手にして立ち回りを演じることはできそうにない。ハンドガンも久しく撃ってないしな。
In a long time. You're what, 17? How young were you when you fired a handgun? Arimura turned to Kunosato, surprised that she'd fired a gun. Kunosato seemed unusually hesitant, but said,
仕方がない。尾上の言うことにはどこか矛盾があるとはいえ、今はそれを探る時間も人も全く足りない。とりあえずだが、予定通り新庄さんが戻ってくるのを待って渋谷を脱出する。もし何らかの企みがそこにあるなら乗ってやるまでだ。
I went to Uki's room to hide before the police officer got here and found Yuto curled up asleep on... Oh, her bed. Right. Uki's bed. He must have been crying for a long time because he was red around the eyes and I could see tear marks on his cheeks. Uki was sitting on the bed, softly holding his hand. She'd probably been like that for a long time. It seemed a very natural thing for her to do.
ちゃんとお姉さんしてるんだな。
私なんてまだ。
Her voice was soft and kind so as not to wake Yuto, but there was a loneliness mixed in with her words. I could see that she was looking at a photo on the desk. It was a picture of Yui and Uki. I couldn't tell when it was taken. Yui was hugging Uki from behind, and pressing her cheek up against Uki's blushing face. I thought about the person who'd taken this picture. If it wasn't the one they'd taken themselves, someone had to have taken it. It wasn't Yuto. If Yuto was there, he'd be standing in between the two of them. And Dad wasn't into taking photographs, which meant it was probably Nono. I could tell what Uki was thinking when she looked at it. She was thinking about when Nono had taken the picture.
出発は夜になるって。準備できてる？はい、一応は。でも、よくわからなくて。
Neither did I. It wasn't that I didn't know what to take. I didn't know what was happening to me. I hadn't even been told where we were going, except that we were leaving Shibuya.
とりあえず、一旦離れるだけだから、心配しなくていいと思うよ。はい。
Uki smiled just a little at Arimura's attempt to make her feel better.
お前は大丈夫なのか？
大丈夫っすよ。前から旅に出てみたかったんで。
She was joking around, probably because Uki was here. It felt like old times, and I smiled a little. Of course she wasn't okay. She was leaving the town where she lived, and with no notice at all. And she was leaving because someone wanted to kill her.
なんて言うんですかね、こういうの。バンドワゴン？バンドでワゴン？
No, and that second one doesn't even make any sense. I suddenly realized that Kazuki was in the corner of the room chewing dried squid. I hadn't seen that in a while either. It was kind of a relief.
花、ユウトが起きちゃうから。ん？はあ、着替え足りるかな？買わなきゃダメか。
Arimura tugged at her outfit as she spoke.
有村さん、よかったらですけど。よかったら、ののさんの使ってください。ののさんの部屋にありますから。
Aren't they, like, nowhere near the same size? Arimura froze. She clearly didn't know what to say.
いや、でもそれは。いいんです。ね、タクルさん。
I was a little surprised. For a moment she looked like Nono or Yui. She'd probably decided that she'd protect Yuto, and so she was trying to be a big sister like they were. I nodded to both of them.
なあ、ノノはどんなものでも無駄にするのが大嫌いだったから、もらってやってくれないか。
けど、先輩は。
いいんだ。
Arimura seemed a little surprised, but her face finally took on a serious expression.
わかりました。もらっていきます。はい。うん。
あ。
Arimura ran over to Nono's room to get the clothes before the policeman came. I decided I should probably check if there were any clothes left in my room, then stood up.
渋谷を離れる。
I tried to leave the room quietly so as not to wake up Yuto, and then I stopped.
地震の時、お前は何を望んだ？その結果、尾上がリアルブートされたのだとしたら、あいつに何を求めたんだ
？I remembered what Kunosato had just said. I looked around as if trying to find the answer to a problem I couldn't solve. And then I saw Uki holding Yuto's hands as he softly moaned in pain. I don't have to know, do I? I don't have to think about the things I don't know. This is the right thing to do. If I endured that headache long enough, I could probably find the answer. But I gave up and left Uki's room to go get ready instead. This is gonna drive me crazy. Well, we're out, and we're still leaving this thing unresolved. I'm telling you, we got our parents killed and blocked it out because if we found out, it would be a disaster. But, in any case, November 6th, Friday. For now, it is time to stop the installment. Well, we certainly made a lot of progress today, didn't we? We had more poignant conversations, and considered that maybe Serika herself is under mind control, which wouldn't terribly surprise me, but if she was telling lies disguised by the truth in order to get around a certain something, I'm curious as to what that is and why, and it is killing me that Takeru just won't try to remember what this ultimate reveal of Serika's existence was. I still say I'm right on this. It's been a while. I could be wrong. I've made wrong guesses before. I've already done it in this particular playthrough, but I got a feeling about this one. Until next time, everyone.